and a big one in the SEC. Tennessee at Texas A&M. KenPom has this one, Vols -1. The market, or at least FanDuel on the open, Tennessee -2.5. So Volunteers have had a week off since the win over Vanderbilt, failing to cover, but winning that game by 4 against their in-state rivals, and they've won 3 of their last 4 games. Texas A&M falling apart against your Mississippi State Bulldogs in the second half. Unsurprisingly, we're going Oppo here, Justin.
Oh boy.
I'm going to be on the Aggies trade. You're going to be once again fading the Aggies trade. So what say you before I have my rebuttal?
Did you not see enough against Mississippi State? That's my question, I guess. I thought that was maybe a little bit of an overcompensation, but what we saw is exactly the concern with like why I've come up here every time saying that they are a team that has likely been overvalued. They can lose. Again, moving on the road though is interesting, and I don't know if we're going to be Oppo, because I don't know if I can take that at -2.5 for Tennessee. Tell you the truth, because I would hope that the KenPom number of -1 gets met with like a pick'em at home. You're getting the market being like, all right, we saw enough. The shot quality pointing at it for a while. I think you're foolish to think shot quality. I'm not talking to you directly, Eli, but anyone in general to think that shot quality hasn't like permeated. We see this all the time. These weird movements of like, wait, why did this one team have like the market moved for them on the road and everyone's moving at home? Well, guess what? Big shot quality edge. It is really been an impressive season for our data, the command over the market. I have all the points to back it up, so it's not like I'm talking out of my butt. Every time it feels like things are moving weirdly. Again, SQ is going to be on Tennessee. SQ would tell you to take the KenPom number at Tennessee -1. And I would probably go as far that 2.5 might still be within range. If you're losing at home, one possession, you're probably blowing that thing up to 2-3 possessions, and the chance of hitting that 3, pushing it to overtime, trying to get the win. The loss doesn't matter if you lose by 2 or 5. They're going to foul and try to give themselves any chance to get the ball back in their hands to cut the deficit down. Maybe they do make that 3-pointer last ditch down 5 and it's 2 and I lose the -2.5. But yeah, very strong lean against Texas A&M. Just had some problems with, expecting them to be as good as they have been, right? They are not good 3-point shooters. They do not defend the rim well on defense. They do not run an efficient transition attack. They crash the glass on offense, which is great. They get to the free throw line. They force the turnovers, but there's just a little extra missing. And then, our expected metrics in the conference at the rim are just so different. Expecting them to give up a 63% field goal percentage when opponents get to the rim, only giving up a 53%. We saw a very rim-focused team take advantage of that. Tennessee can do whatever they want. I don't know. If they want to turn into a rim attack team, they will. If they want to use that gravity once they're panicking and find, Zakai and Lanier open for 3 and drop daggers from deep, they will. This is a very complete team, and if Tennessee wants to continue to solidify what seed line they're on, I think a big road win is important. But I don't handicap a narrative. The data says A&M is worse than they look, so probably value going against them, especially for the price.
Okay.
There's my spiel. There, go ahead.
Listen, fair points about shot quality, and I am surprised about this line being Tennessee -2.5 on open. Yeah. It's going to come the other way, so maybe you do get your pick 'em. So. Maybe at most books this opens Tennessee -1.
Well, tell everyone to play A&M here, so that in a couple hours I can take the other side.
We'll see, but Tennessee's turnover problems. You mentioned A&M could turn you over. Zakai Ziegler, career high 21.9% turnover rate. That could be an issue for an A&M team that, yes, to your point, is inefficient in transition, but they do want to play up tempo. Also inefficient from 3, but I do think they're due for a little bit of home cooking from behind the arc. And also, you look at Tennessee in terms of generating second chance opportunities. Like A&M, Aggies have the best offensive rebounding rate in college basketball. Tennessee 15th in that department, but Texas A&M number 1 in defensive rebounding percentage in SEC play. So this is a team that isn't going to allow you to create those second chance shots, while the Vols are a little bit more vulnerable on the defensive glass. Okpara, the transition to SEC play from Big Ten play, I'm not saying the Big Ten isn't physical, but I don't think he's made the leap to the SEC, best conference in college basketball by a mile, as we discussed, time over time. So I think the Aggies have the advantage on the glass at both ends of the floor. And then, like I mentioned, 3-point regression. Both teams theoretically are due for it at the defensive end, but Tennessee overall this season still allowing around a 28% clip from behind the arc. Wade Taylor, Zurich Phelps to an extent, even though he's wildly inconsistent at times. Generally speaking, playing more up-tempo, you can generate more efficient or at least cleaner looks in transition, even though Texas A&M overall, open, not open, is the less efficient team from behind the arc. At home, coming off of the Mississippi State loss, I think they bounce back here, especially at getting 2.5. I'll be on the Aggies, Justin.
Look, I get it. But look, in conference play, this is my concern. That A&M allowing 50% of shots against from behind the line. That's essentially like inviting Alabama in every time you play. And they're allowing opponents to shoot 34% from deep in conference, which is getting masked by a strong non-conference defensive run. And their season numbers at 31.8, which is 72nd. Their conference number, they're 11th worst at allowing, threes to go through the hoop. That's very concerning. And then they can't hit free throws. So they're shooting 66% from the line right now. They're getting blocked. I would have some concerns here. If they get blocked on 16% of their shots, shoot 66% from the free throw line, I think it could get a little ugly. So I think we are going to be Oppo. I think I've talked myself into it. It's going to be a great game. It's going to be a great game. I think, it's going to be shooting variance. If that, maybe the crowd gets into it, if they have the students show up, if it gets to be a spot where maybe Tennessee can fall flat, I do think that's possible. It's not that it's impossible. I don't come up here and say my bets have a 100% chance to win, but that's the type of stuff we're talking about in the 30 to 40, 45% loss scenario for me, where I lose the bet, which is, okay, maybe they go cold, maybe A&M gets that, extra emphasis, and they, maybe hit some of their shots. They've been abysmal shooting. That seems to be their identity year in and year out. They don't really play that game. They play a real crash the glass game, and you're going to have a tough time. And if Tennessee can't hit that first attempt, and A&M can maybe, get out and run in transition, especially because Tennessee's the best defense in KenPom. It's not like they're going to have an easy time. So I don't know. I think the cards point a little bit towards Tennessee on this one. And it's not like they've had the most stellar season either. They've taken a home loss this year. They lost to Kentucky on the road, and I don't think that's exactly aging well. So I think they want to get this one. They definitely don't want to take a loss here, and it's supposed to be a tight game. You get a tight line. If it was, gets the 3, if it keeps moving at Tennessee, I don't think I can take it past the full possession. But maybe wait, see if the money comes back. Good luck, Eli. I mean, you shoot me a text, we can get some big free action,
A little tease. I think we're going Oppo here one more time on the show.